2 Samuel 12:13. Nathan said to David, "The Lord also has put away your sin." God's taken David's sin away. God forgives David's sin. You shall not die. David won't die. However, but wait, hold on. Nathan tells David, or God tells David through Nathan. And Nathan said to David, "The Lord also has put away your sin. You shall not die. However," 2 Samuel 12:14, "because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme. Because of your sin and contempt and scorn for God, God's enemies talk against God and blaspheme. The child also who is born to you, David and Bathsheba's baby, shall surely die. Death." God tells David through Nathan. "Because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also who is born to you shall surely die." 2 Samuel 12:15. Then Nathan departed. Nathan left David to his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became ill. Deadly disease on David and Bathsheba's baby. David therefore pleaded to God, "God, please not my son, spare him." Then Nathan departed to his house, and the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became ill. David therefore pleaded to God for the child. 2 Samuel 12:16. And David fasted. David didn't eat anything. And concentrated on God. And went in, I think he went into this temple, and lay all night on the ground. Forgive me, God. So the elders of his house, the older leaders of David's house. And David fasted and went in and lay all night on the ground. So the elders of his house, 2 Samuel 12:17, arose. They got up and went to him. The elders go to David, to raise him up from the ground. "David, please get up." I don't know if they're embarrassed or what. The elders and David, but he would not. "I won't get up." The elders arose and went to him to raise him up from the ground, but he would not. 2 Samuel 12:17. Nor did he eat food with them. "Eat with us." The elders and David, no. Then on the seventh day it came to pass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it happened on this day that the child died, death. And the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. How can we tell David? No. Nor did David eat food with them. Then on the seventh day it came to pass that the child died, and the servants of David were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. 2 Samuel 12:18. For they said, "Indeed, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not heed our voice." Master, David doesn't pay attention to his servants. Master, the child is still alive. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm. David may become harmful, and I read somewhere that he might hurt himself. The servants are worried. For they said, "Indeed, while the child was alive, we spoke to him, and he would not heed our voice. How can we tell him that the child is dead? He may do some harm." When David saw that his servants were whispering, David saw his servants whispering. David perceived that the child was dead. David understood that the child died. When David saw that his servants were whispering, David perceived that the child was dead. 2 Samuel 12:19. Therefore David said to his servants, "Is the child dead?" I'm not sure how this looked, but this is my sketch or cartoon of it. And they said, "He is dead." So David arose from the ground. David got up, washed. Therefore David said to his servants, Is the child dead? And they said, He is dead. So David arose from the ground, washed, 2 Samuel 12:20, anointed himself, and I read that that's lotion. David put on lotions and changed his clothes. David took off his clothes and put on new clothes. And he went into the house of the Lord. He went to the tabernacle, synagogue or tabernacle, and worshipped. And Psalm 51 was written by David around this time. Create in me a clean heart. And David anointed himself and changed his clothes, and he went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. 2 Samuel 12:20. Then he went to his own house. David went home, and when he requested, I'd like some food now, they set food before him, and he ate. Then he went to his own house, and when he requested, they set some food before him, and he ate. And he said, While the child was alive, I fasted. Okay. Sorry, wrong page. 2 Samuel 12:21. Then his servants said to him, What is this that you have done? You fasted, no food for David, and wept. David cried. While he was alive, you were upset when the baby was still alive, but when the child died, death, you arose. David got up and ate food. What's happening? What's going on? Why are you upset? Why aren't you upset? Then his servants said to him, What is this that you have done? You fasted and wept. Well, you fasted and wept while he was alive, but when the child died, you arose and ate food. Second Samuel 12:22. And he said, While the child was alive, I fasted. David didn't eat any food, and wept, cried. For I said, Who can tell, who knows, whether the Lord will be gracious to me? Grace for David, grace from the Lord, that the child may live. No death for the child. David and his servants. David tells his servants. And he said, While the child was alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, Who can tell whether the Lord will be gracious to me, that the child may live? 2 Samuel 12:23. But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Now that the child's dead, so no more fasting. David is back to eating. So I didn't want to draw the baby is dead too much. Can I bring him back? Can I bring him back again? Will the baby come back? I shall go to him. David shall go to the baby, but he shall not return to me. The baby won't come back to me. The servant and David talk. David and the servant. Let me read that one more time. But now he is dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. 2 Samuel 12:24. Then David comforted his wife Bathsheba. David comforts Bathsheba and went into her and lay with her. So she bore a son, David and Bathsheba, and he called his name Solomon. Now the Lord loved him. The Lord loved him. Then David comforted his wife Bathsheba and went into her and lay with her. So she bore a son, and he called his name Solomon. Now the Lord loved him. 2 Samuel 12:25. And he sent word, Go and speak to David by the hand of Nathan the prophet. Nathan gives a message from God. So he called his name Jedediah. Call him Jedediah. Jedediah means loved by the Lord. The Lord loved him. Name him Jedediah. Name him Jedediah. And I guess I should write Jedediah here. Or Solomon. I'll just leave it blank. And he sent word by the hand of Nathan the prophet. So he called his name Jedediah. And I guess that's it.